Well, we are in one of the busiest seasons of life we have probably ever been in before. We have 4 kids, ages 10 through 14, and there's just a lot going on right now. And so let's talk about how minimalism has made this season so much easier to navigate. So number 1 is that first thing in the morning when I get up now, I do not scroll social media. When you pursue minimalism, you're decluttering, you're simplifying every area of your home, but it also causes you to simplify other things too, like inputs. And think about it, if we scroll first thing in the morning, it is very possible that we have had over 100 inputs and pieces of information and things thrown at us into our face and into our brains before we even get out of bed. So if you can break this habit, it is gonna completely transform your day, and it's gonna make all the other things that we're gonna talk about so much easier to stick to, because social media is a high dopamine reward activity. Now, we're still gonna use this. We're gonna hack this and use this to our benefit. It's just gonna come slightly later in the day. Okay, now I know this might come as a surprise, but number 2 is not to make your bed. I don't make the bed every day. I don't actually care. I know there's a TED Talk by like an army guy that says, this will change your life. It has never changed my life when I'm stuck to it, but something I learned from Fly Lady is I do get dressed down to my shoes every day. And so you might decide to have a pair of shoes that you wear just in the house, but this is a mental hack that makes a huge difference, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom or you work at home. We need to somehow shift into active work mode and away from resting and resetting mode. So getting dressed down to our shoes every day makes a huge difference. Number 3 is to have a uniform. If you are in an especially busy season of life, you have to have a uniform. It is such a kindness to your brain. Now, it doesn't have to be black top and jeans. You can actually still have some color in it too. The key is planning for our worst day, not our best day. So imagine those mornings when you're running a little bit behind, everyone's a little bit chaotic, trying to find their things. You need to be able to walk up to your closet and very quickly get dressed in things that fit and that you feel good in. And you can have a little color. The key is they just have to fit. So I've learned my colors, which has been so helpful. I know there's sometimes some controversy around this. I do believe I'm a warm autumn. They seem to work really well on me, and you'll see that reflected in my closet. And I would highly encourage you to box up, pack away all of the clothes that don't fall into this category for right now. For this season, we need things very streamlined. So it's okay to pack away clothes that don't fit or are too dressy. They're not part of your streamlined wardrobe for right now. And then we'll see if down the road you want to pull them out again. If not, you've time tested them, you have some good data to work with if they're actually serving you or not, and it's a whole lot easier to let them go once they've been removed from your closet and set aside for a little bit. And I know some will say like, leggings aren't pants, right? That's the great thing. You get to decide. You get to decide what your uniform consists of. Again, just make sure everything fits and that you feel good in it. Okay, so we skipped the scroll. We got dressed in our uniform down to our shoes. We're feeling pretty good. Like, this is a great way to start the day. Let me show you something here in the bathroom that might just blow your mind. Did you know that it is okay for your drawers to look like this? To actually only have the things that you use every single day when you get ready. Like, you literally can just open the drawer very easily, get out the things that you need, use it quick, and then very easily put it back away and shut the door. You actually don't have to have all of that other random stuff that you don't actually ever use. You don't have to have that around that. Isn't that fascinating? And so again, if you're in a really busy season of life right now, do your brain a kindness. Highly simplify your bathroom and your makeup to just the things that you use every single day for you and your kids. It is gonna make such a big difference. I can add too quick that I've also highly simplified my jewelry. I just have a few everyday pieces, a couple dressy pieces, and that has cut down on the number of decisions that I have to make in the morning, which has just been awesome. And I honestly don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. So another way minimalism has helped me in especially chaotic seasons is to realize what I'm capable of doing right now and what I'm not. I saw this meme the other day, I thought it was so good. It said, "Hi, sorry it took me 5 days to get back to your text. I myself am understaffed at the moment," right? So it's so important to realize that if there are things that are really important to you, but are continually falling by the wayside, it might be time to try something different, even if it's just for a season. And so today's video is sponsored by Factor. Factor delivers fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved meals right to your doorstep. And it's important to me that you know that I was actually subscribing to Factor before they approached me about sponsoring a video. So especially right now in this busy season, I really appreciate that Factor takes the stress out of meal planning and sets me up for success. I get to skip the grocery store, prep work, cooking, and cleaning, and instead eat stress-free with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. And it tastes so good. Every fresh, never frozen meal is restaurant quality, chef crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. But it tastes awesome, it's filling, and I feel really good afterwards. And there's so much variety. Every week there are 35 options to choose from, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. And Factor is flexible, so you can look ahead and change up your order every week if you need to. They have plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or you can pause or even reschedule your deliveries anytime. So I really appreciate that I can just go to the fridge, heat up a meal in 2 minutes. It tastes awesome, I feel good afterwards, and all of the meal planning and grocery shopping and cooking and cleaning up afterwards is just off of my to-do list right now, and that has been so valuable. This is one of my favorites, the Romano shredded chicken. Good portion sizes and so filling. You feel really good when you're done eating. Okay, now if you want to try Factor and save some money too, head to factor75.com or click on the link down below and use code 50MinimalMom to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's 50MinimalMom at factor75.com to get 50% off and free shipping on your first box. All right, so we got dinner covered. Let me share some of my other favorite ways that minimalism has helped me through busy seasons. Okay, number 5 is to arrive places 5 minutes early. The kids and I have been doing this for years, and it makes a radical difference in how frazzled you feel and also the kids. So I had to start saying, instead of, oh, we need to be there at 8 o'clock, thinking we need to be there at 7:50 or 7:55. And I distinctly remember one day bringing the kids, and we still brought them to school, and I would always try, we were generally one of the first ones there, just because I was in this mindset and I knew what a huge difference it makes. And one day there was road construction that we weren't expecting, and we had to go around, and we got there then just on time. And I was so grateful for that buffer, because then we still weren't starting the day behind. We were actually just on time, and it was totally fine. So in the past, something that would have derailed us, caused us to feel stressed, having to run inside, I'd have to go into the office and check the kids in. It ended up not being a big deal at all. Now, number 6 is that when you get places early, often you have a little bit of extra time on your hands, and you want to use that time to close open loops. Now, in the past, if I had a few extra minutes in the car, what would I do? I would go on Instagram and I would start scrolling, right? And I felt very entitled, and it was fine. Now, here's what I mean about that. What are open loops? How about text messages that we haven't replied to, phone calls we need to make, voicemails, emails? I know many of your kids are in different sports and activities. Now we have, I have to check Slack for things, and I'm like, why? Why are we doing this, right? So you have other apps that you have to check. And then you've heard me talk about the app To Do before, so that's what I use to manage my tasks. So if I see a text message, or I'm in Slack and I see something I need to do, like bring snacks on Saturday to play practice, if it's not something I can complete right then, I try to do as much as I can right then. But if not, then I'm gonna add it to my to-do app, to my task list, my master task list. I know many are sold out to paper planners and written lists and everything. I feel like life has gotten too busy for that. Like, we have too much to manage to keep it all in paper form. But if that works for you, great. If not, you might wanna try this out. I can link to the video where I show more in depth how I use To Do. If it is captured, that gives us so much peace of mind, because our brains are not good at managing inventory. Our brains are not good at managing all these random little pieces of information. Number 7 is to go for a walk every single day. And I really think this is like the minimalist workout routine, because it's so simple, everyone can do it. I know sometimes temperatures aren't cooperative, but whenever possible. And I just saw this post by Dr. James. He said, walks are magical. They clear your mind, they reset your mood, they help with digestion, they lower blood glucose, they bring you better ideas, they relax the mind and body. Walking is more than just exercise. Walking is therapeutic. And I've been walking almost daily for 10 years now, and I would agree with all of this. If you are feeling at all frazzled, unsettled, anxious, overwhelmed, tired, stressed, like there's just too much to do, it is amazing how going for a walk can help reset things. And it just brings a different perspective. And I like following Jordan Syatt on Instagram. He says 7,500 is a great number to aim for. I will link to his account. He has the best fitness information that I have found anywhere on the internet. He does swear like a sailor, so if that's a turn off to you, you might not want to follow him. But his information is so good, it's so easy, it's so practical. I think he has this all dialed in for what's actually reasonable for us in these really crazy, busy seasons of life. Number 8 is to ask each person in your household how they are really every day. And so the other day, our 11-year-old, who is normally happy-go-lucky, and it didn't even necessarily seem like something was wrong, and I was just like, hey buddy, how are you? How are you doing? And he looked at me and he said, not good. And I was really surprised. I hadn't even sensed that anything was wrong. Well, it turns out that at co-op, some kids, some things happened, you know, and he got his feelings hurt. And so we were able to talk it out, and I was able to tell him, you know, I don't even think that's what they meant. I think it was a misunderstanding. But if for each of us, if our deepest desire is to be heard and to be seen, how important is it for us to ask each person in our house, how are you today? And I'm not always perfect at this. And just so you know, there are some in my household that they might just look at me and be like, I'm fine, leave me alone, whatever. It doesn't matter what their response is. What matters is that we're asking the question, we're making an attempt to see them and to know them, and that just makes everyone feel so much more safe and secure. Number 9 is to do the dishes and a load of laundry almost every day. Like, I think most of us want to strive to do it every day. This is real life what it looks like next to our sink right now. But if we can develop this habit of doing the dishes every day and the laundry every day, it is gonna make our life so much better. Now, I'm gonna tell you how we can use this. Again, I have a hack to make this easier, but what we have to remember is that dishes actually get harder the longer they sit. So I'm not gonna tell you, oh, you have to mop your floor every day and do all these other things, but dishes actually take longer if they pile up. And we know, there's a mental impact of it too. When dishes start to pile up, it's like the rest of the house just goes to heck too. I don't think it's just us. And there is something about doing the dishes every single day and a load of laundry. It keeps us in the game. And we feel like I might not be getting to everything, but I'm doing this every day. And so I'm staying on top of my house. And what's fascinating, since doing a load of laundry every day, we never have kids running around looking for that random lost thing. What it does is, I think when you do laundry every day, you keep a pulse on where all the clothes and uniforms and leotards and like taekwondo things are throughout the house. And so it's easier to keep track of them and know where things are at. But also you can keep much lower clothing inventory. So I'll link to a separate video on that. It's very counterintuitive, but if you will keep lower inventory of clothing and linens and everything that goes through the washing machine, it is gonna make your house feel so much better. It's gonna feel cleaner, it's gonna feel more under control, but we can only do that if we're in the habit of doing the laundry on a regular basis. Okay, now I said I don't start out my day on my phone, right? But how can we use this magical device that we have with us all the time for motivation, for a source of motivation? And how we can do that is by using it as a reward. So like I mentioned earlier, social media is a high dopamine reward system. It is intentionally designed that way. And that's why we get hooked to it and we get addicted. And every time we even go to the bathroom, we're pulling out our phone because we get dopamine from it. So there's nothing wrong with you if you are continually drawn to your phone. They work very hard to make sure that happens, right? But how can we hack it? So what we can do is use this as a reward. So if I got up in the morning, I didn't go on my phone, I got dressed, I got ready, I got everyone out the door, and because I'm leaving early, I have a few minutes in the car before everyone gets out there. Then I can reward myself by going on my phone. In fact, that reinforces the positive behaviors that I did leading up to that point. Let's say I get the dishes done and a load of laundry going. I can reward myself by going on my phone. I got the house tidied up up and help the kids to pick up their toys. We're gonna talk about toys in a minute. I can reward myself by going on my phone. Now, one other rule I have made for myself, just to make sure I don't get lazy with my habits with this, is that I don't let myself go on my phone in bed. So if I want to scroll or shop or do something like that, I say I have to get out of bed. I can sit in the chair in our room, I can sit here, I can stand in the kitchen, I can sit in the car, but no phone use for mindless scrolling and shopping while I'm in bed, because I make very poor decisions and I'm much more likely to impulse buy, to lose track of time, to stay up later than I intended, and it's really not the best input into our brain before we go to sleep at night. Tip number 11 is to highly simplify your kids' toys. The truth is, kids don't actually need toys to have a happy and full and well-developed childhood. So recently my sister and I were talking about this because she has 4 kids, but they're much younger than ours. So they're infant through 6, and they were just having such a struggle at the end of the night getting the kids to pick up. They weren't playing well, they were whining, and I'm like, Diana, you know what you have to do, right? I'm like, you need to really simplify their toys. And she's like, Dawn, we already have so few toys. Like, we go to other people's homes, they have all these toys. We have very little toys. They only fit in this one cabinet. And I'm like, what? Right, but look at the data. If they're not playing well, they're not able to entertain themselves, they're fighting with each other, and they're not picking them up at the end of the night, all of that leads to the fact that they have too many toys. And you can, I will challenge anybody on this. Go ahead, pack up at least half of them, if not more, and then just test it out. Just put them in some boxes and set them aside. That's what Diana did. She put them in their basement. Do you know what she told me? A day later, she's like, oh my goodness, you should see, Dawn. They set up the cutest thing. They were playing library last night after dinner, and then the next day they made a post office and they made their own mailboxes, and Adley asked me if I would put mail in her mailbox. And now, this was a few weeks ago, they've still been doing it and playing. She's like, you're totally right. By simplifying toys, kids play better. They get more engrossed in their play, so it's deeper play. They're more content, they're at peace, they play better together. And research has shown that kids in highly simplified environments, and when they're playing longer, they're smarter, they have better social skills, they have better problem-solving skills, they're able to say no better. What? This is awesome. Everything that you want for your child, you can achieve by setting up an environment where they can play. And so we highly simplify the toys. I know it's counterintuitive, right? We highly simplify them and just watch the magic happen. Number 11 is to have a survival meal plan, right? Most of us as moms, we have these big goals to cook at home and to feed our family healthier things. But for right now, that may not be practical. And it is so expensive to eat out. Now, don't get me wrong, groceries are expensive too. But we went to McDonald's the other day. It wasn't even all the kids. It was 3 of the kids and me, and it was $28. I'm like, what did you order? I'm like, $5 for a large fry? I was making them share it. Like, what are we doing, right? So most of us, we can't afford to be eating out. So have a survival meal plan. What does that mean? We are not trying new recipes. We're probably not trying to like pull roasts out of the freezer and use up random things in the freezer. We need to have a very consistent meal plan that just rotates, which means we can have very consistent groceries, which means we're not getting random things that are then going bad in the fridge. That's the worst, especially right now with prices. And so if you know Tuesday nights are just especially chaotic and there's been a few weeks where you end up just going out to eat, then just grab a frozen pizza and throw it in the freezer or whatever your convenience things are. Even like we have a lot of meals that are just like better than McDonald's, right? It might not be super healthy, but it's fast and it's easy and it's cheaper than having to go through a drive-through. So it is okay right now if you're in a really busy season to have a very streamlined meal plan and just to put it on repeat. I do have a really old video about my meal planning system and it's still pretty much what we use now. So I can link to that down below, but permission to highly simplify your meal rotation. It is going to save your sanity and your budget too. And number 13 is to tidy often. What does tidy mean? To just pick up, to group like stuff with like stuff. Have your family help with this, but we're all very sensitive to the environment around us. And sometimes when our house has been kind of messy and trashed for a while, we think we're not impacted by it. Like, oh, it's not a big deal, it's just kind of how it always is. I would beg to differ. I think you probably are really impacted by it, and your kids are too. So if members of your household seem irritable, grouchy, like stressed, a little anxious, it could, part of it, I don't think it's all of it, but part of it could be the state of your home. And so we continue to declutter and we pick up often, but this can become a very second nature. Please get your kids involved. Like, kids need to feel like they have an important part in our household. Set the timer for 5 minutes. Say, we're all just gonna pick up. Plan that the first few times you do this, it's not gonna go well. It's gonna feel like a big waste of time. But as you do it more and more, like now, if I set the timer, I put on some upbeat music and I say, okay, we're all gonna pick up the house quick, everyone just goes and does their thing because we've practiced it so many times. And we still have one that no matter what, I'll say, I'm setting the timer for 5 minutes. I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, go to the bathroom so fast, and then you're doing an extra minute, right? So we find ways to deal with all the things that come up too, but really work to keep your house and your spaces picked up. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean, but again, clutter is very stressful to our brains, and we know that clutter we're releasing the stress hormones, and we are feeling more stressed out when we are in a cluttered environment. And as women, we are more susceptible to it than men. Isn't that awesome, right? Because for most of us, it's on our mental to-do list, not theirs, right? It just is what it is. But as you continue to declutter and simplify your home, all of this, everything that I've talked about today gets so much easier. So hopefully you'll subscribe, and hopefully we can spend some more time together. I would love to help you get your house fully decluttered, because for us, we've been minimalist for 9 years now. We got rid of 85% of our stuff. I don't miss any of it. And every year as the kids get older and older, I'm just more and more grateful that we did that hard work, or I did that hard work 9 years ago, because we have been getting to enjoy the benefits year after year after year. And you don't want to miss this time, this special time with our kids, right? Like, so some days we wanted to go faster, but I really feel like I'm a much better mom now, and I'm more in tune with our kids, and I can ask that question, like, how are you really? And I have the space and the bandwidth to hear their heart and to help problem solve if that's what they need, but mostly just for them to feel seen and heard. And that has just been so cool, and I'm so grateful for that. All right, well, I'll put a playlist here of our long format videos. They're really great to declutter to if you have a little decluttering work to do. But I love you. I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you again soon.